If tragedy strikes, we all want to be ready for it. And here to talk about coming up with a game plan for natural disasters is Andy Crouppen of Brown & Crouppen. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. We were just talking about my family is in Alabama, and fortunately they are fine, but now they are coming up with a game plan. All the things that you should be thinking of before a natural disaster hits, they're doing it now. Unfortunately, it had to take something like this for it to happen. So all of us should be prepared. And you have a lot of great tips on how we can do that. And first off, you're talking about what we should be thinking of if it was to happen to us. Where would we be staying? What do we need to be prepared for in that situation, like at a shelter?
Everyone thinks it's not going to happen to me, and unfortunately, like your family, a lot of people don't make the plans ahead of time until they have that close call.
They don't think it's ever going to happen to you.
I was the same way. I was living in New York City during September 11th. I was there during the blackout, and having that sort of impacted me in a way that now I sort of think a little ahead in terms of disasters, probably more than I should, but it's better to be a little too prepared than a little too unprepared. You don't want to end up in a shelter. A shelter, I think, is a last resort. So if you plan ahead, you can find friends or family members, make arrangements with them who have maybe an extra bedroom, a little extra space. Make a plan for a place to go, because if you end up in a shelter and you have children, it can be a very stressful time during a disaster in general. But if you're in a shelter, living in a stadium with no privacy, nowhere to put your belongings, it can make a bad situation even worse.
Oh, yes. So maybe have a list of people, call your family members, and get them involved in your plan.
Right. And you know, maybe have different stages, because you don't know how widespread disasters can be. It could be just your block. It could be your neighborhood. It could be your city. It could be your state. So you kind of want to have maybe multiple tiers of contingency plans. And also, a really important thing to do, in times of disaster, you don't know what communication is going to be like. You don't know if you're going to get separated from your family. Have somebody out of state that you can all contact. You know how to get in touch with them and say, hey, here's where I am. If my brother, if my mother, if my father calls, just let them know I'm safe, and let me know that they're safe too once they contact you.
We were just looking at the tornado that hit in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, near the University of Alabama, and they canceled classes there. A lot of the students have since left Tuscaloosa and gone home, and you have to think about that. That even happened here on the Good Friday storms. A lot of the school districts had to cancel schools. So how should you prepare for that?
Well, you want to, first of all, sometimes the school themselves have the ability to open. They don't have damage, but the problem is the people going to the schools are homeless, don't have places to live, and so they just maybe don't even have transportation to get there, so sometimes they will cancel it. If you have children and their school is canceled, if it's a long-term emergency, you want to try to keep as much structure in your life as possible. Go to work if you can. Send your kids to school if you can. Generally, public schools will accept kids who are residents of the district. You don't have to be a permanent resident or a full-time resident. A temporary resident can go as well. So you want to try to find out ahead of time, you know, maybe what the policies of the school districts, what other school districts are maybe near the place where your contingency plan is, and just make a phone call ahead of time and find out how you get your kid in that school in case of an emergency and they're displaced from where they go to school.
Great information, things that we would never really think of until it's unfortunately that time where you have to. So
yeah, you want to think about it before it's too late.
Very good. Well, if you have a legal question for Brown & Crouppen, all you have to do is email them.